When I first started Blender, I was about 11 years old, practically a fetus, and I still remember the first tutorials I watched here on YouTube. And of course, there was no delicious donut awaiting, but these were actually really good videos to learn the basics. Though the channel hasn't published anymore since 2019. And coming back now, it's actually jaw-dropping how much this program has advanced throughout the years. I feel like I'm so far behind everything there is now, especially that thing about geometry nodes everybody's going crazy about. Anyways, these were some of my first projects. I didn't do anything really challenging, just some goofy assets from real life with horrible topology. Even this silly thing, I don't even know what tutorial I was trying to follow here. Anyways, I recently came back to Blender, not because I'm looking forward to getting a job using it, which nowadays is most difficult, considering the AIs that are coming in the recent times, and I'm not here to compete with that. So what is this? Why am I even doing this? Well, honestly, I got inspired by channels like Zach D Films. You've probably seen him quite some times.
In an instant, electricity surged into the necklace, turning it into a burning hot wire. The current shot through his neck, chest, and hand.
And also this Spanish channel, which is called Jota, who talks about creepypastas and mysteries with 3D animations, which I think is pretty cool. So I want to try something similar, which is to create my own character, use it to make interesting content. Unrelated, but this looks like the Gmod missing textures thing. I don't think I'm gonna do any more videos about Blender, even though I'm gonna use it a lot, because I don't really know how to use the AI tools nowadays. And honestly, it doesn't look very good, at least to me. I know there's plenty of channels like this nowadays, but they function as an inspiration, and I'm just gonna use a slightly different format, which could be fun and interesting. So that's what I'm trying to do. Maybe it changes throughout the months or so. It's just my attempt at doing something different, I guess. I don't know, we'll see. So the process of this video is based on a tutorial, and the tutorials I'm gonna follow are from a very well-known YouTuber, which is Joey Carlino, and he's super easy to follow videos. At least to me, they were really great. He has a really nice way of explaining things, as he works on his usual methods in creating characters, which is not the only thing. He created a whole playlist for people wanting to learn how to rig them and animate them as well. This process is actually really fun. I spent a good amount of time working on the model he used as a reference, which is a cut thing. It reminded me to Garfield. From this video I took a lot of good practice, such as using the skin modifier to create meshes for the limbs and the hands. This is nice for stylus characters, as there's no really need to add so much detail. It also provides a really good mesh for further rigging and animation. After I had finished my cat, or rather his, it was time to watch the next video regarding character creation. This was of course the rigging part. The rigging part for me was actually the most fun section of the process. The bone placing and connections was something I took as a puzzle. The only thing that was kind of a pain was remembering which bones should I parent to the other. But definitely the biggest rock in the path for me was setting up the embed kinematics, which basically gives the limbs the ability to move as a whole organic skeleton from one control bone at the end of it. You can see I struggled a lot in this part. I spent at least 1.5 hours looking for fixes, but the best approach for me was doing the whole thing again and reviewing frame by frame whatever I had to do. But finally it worked. So I advanced to the weight painting part, which is, I can say, a really fun thing to do, as you just have to check for the behavior of every limb in the model, hoping it moves alright, and if it doesn't, just weight paint correctly. And I mean all the areas related to that limb. In the end, I managed to make the cat character move just fine. So now it was time to put all of that into my own model. For that, I started modeling, adding simple geometry and using the skin modifier for the limbs. But I had a rough time with it the first time, so I had to watch the video 1 or 2 times more. When I was happy with the result for the head, the hands and everything related to the body, I started doing the clothing. Maybe you can guess who these clothes are based off, if you're artistic enough. For this part, I needed to check on the video again, but it was so much faster as it was my 3rd time using the same workflow. I found this comment about this realization really nice, which could be applied to almost everything in life, especially with Blender and this kind of thing. But this specifically is something that stayed with me for the next steps in my character creation. After finishing the clothing part, I started with the rigging stuff, which was also easier as I repeated the steps from Joey's video, which, man, is a really good one. As you can see, I again struggle with the IK stuff, but it was nothing unsolvable, of course. It was satisfying to finally doing it correctly after messing with the constraints and other stuff. I don't know how, but it still took me like an hour to solve this. It turns out it was just my base model, which was way too straight, making it difficult for the constraints to understand where it should bend and how. I fixed this by adding a little bit more vets to the joints and moving the forearms and knees a little further to give them some bend information. After everything was done, I felt really great, and I couldn't stop posing my character around, which felt really alive, able to move and stuff. Really cool. I created this scene using textures from the famous add-on Blender kit and a nice tree model published into the same site. It ended up looking decent for such a simple screenshot, and this is the result. After all, I went towards what my initial goal was, to animation, but before watching tutorials about animation and stuff, I just followed some of the tips Joey mentioned in his reading video, so I started animating manually. You may have guessed, but maybe not because of the quality, but this is Ozymandias Breaking Bad scene, which is the most famous one of the show. And of course, I used the first video that appeared on my YouTube search as a reference. You're told. You're good enough. You're a traitor. And so he threw. As you can see, the feet were bugging a lot. Up until now, I don't know how to fix that animation bug with the rigging, but I'm hoping to work on it on my way forward, to create better quality content. At least I hope so. Yeah, this is the result. It looks very goofy, but I really enjoyed it, and I hope you did as well. I'm editing the video and the audio got all messed up. Sounds louder, but anyways, I recommend Joey Carlino's channel and also Blender Gurus for the EV setup, and really all of the Blender community with its immense amount of tutorials to create marvelous stuff. My name is Miguel and this is Splump.